All right, good morning, scholars. Today we're going to learn how to make an animated GIF from a video. So this is an example of what we did. I'm going to actually close this out. We're going to start all brand new. So sure, we'll save this file. Sure. Okay, the very first thing you need to do is you need to get your your video from your phone, your device, onto the computer. So you can download it on there. I've already downloaded it. We are in Adobe Photoshop CC 2015. You guys are going to be using CC 2017, but none of this has changed from program to program. It should all be very similar. All right, the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to import your video. So file open. And you need to locate your video. Mine's going to be in the download folders. And let's see here. Oh, it's still downloading right there. Let's see. It's got 20 seconds left. So here we have a video of Sabrina making a basket. That's what we're going to be putting in there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. All right. All right, file open or Command O on the keyboard. Here's our folder file. And when you open up a video into Photoshop, it's automatically going to turn the timeline on for you. Otherwise, you can actually go up here to Window and you can turn the timeline on and off if you want. So if you're working on a different project, you can turn it off. But it'll automatically pop the video right there for you. And it'll add it to a video group. Okay, so the very first thing we need to do is we need to crop this down to usable size, because for Google Forms and banners in Google Classroom, the max size is 800 by 200, 800 wide by 200 high in pixels. So we're going to crop it to those dimensions using your crop tool, which is right there. 800 pixels wide by 200 pixels high, and the resolution 300 is fine. Alright, so we're just going to move this around a little bit, and we want to get Sabrina's head and the basket. When you're shooting your video, you want to make sure that you get both elements or whatever you're doing within there, because just remember that pretty much your top third and your lower third are going to be completely cut out of whatever you shoot. So keep that in mind when you're shooting your video, okay? And then so crop it down. Yes, we understand that it's going to convert it to a smart layer, so zooming back in, Command plus. Okay, I am going to ask that you add one text element to this, okay? So it can be pretty much anything. Make sure it's school appropriate. Sabrina, what would you like this to say?
Wait, but I want to put it on mine. Is that okay?
Yeah, but for the example here, I'm just going to... Baller's life. All right, fair enough. All right, so you're going to create a text layer just by clicking on it.
Ball is life.
Ball is life. Okay. I've chosen Trajan Pro Bold. That is the school's official font, and the school color. That's our official RGB. And I know that's going to cut the top off a little bit, so I'm going to bring it down. Hit enter. What it did automatically is it stuck it on the same level as my group. I want to put it on its own layer. So right now it's either on the same layer. That's not going to work, right? We want to have this overlaid on top of the video one. So all I'm going to do is grab this layer here, my text layer, and I'm just going to pull it up here and set it right there. Now it's on top of it, and I just have to slide this over for it to fit in there correctly. Okay, so I'm going to have the ball's life show up about a few seconds after the video starts. And I want it to kind of fade in. So by moving my scrubber over here, it's thinking. I'm going to move the scrubber right to the beginning of the text layer here. I want to go right here. You can see this little drop down arrow, left hand corner. You hit that, and you can see some of your controls. And I want to add what's called a keyframe of opacity. So right here, I'm going to click on that, and see added that little yellow dot right there. And then I'm going to come up here to where it says opacity, and I'm going to lower that to 0. And then I want the text to kind of pop in after, let's say, about a second. So at 3 seconds here, I'm going to raise the opacity. I'm going to add another keynote. So by clicking on the little triangle right there, it's going to add another yellow keynote frame. Raise the opacity back up to 100. All right, so now we can kind of see Sabrina's head's cut off a little bit, but let's see. what the whole thing looks like. So we'll start it from the beginning. And the first time this will play through, it'll kind of be jumpy because it's rendering. See how Ball's Life kind of popped up? It won't be this choppy when it actually plays through, but that's essentially what it's going to look like. All right, just for fun though, let's add a drop shadow onto your Ball's Life text so it stands out a little again because the school colors are blending into the background there, right? So we're just going to add a quick little drop shadow. Let's see here. We want to add school gray. That should be good. Let's see if that makes a difference. Yeah, it's a little easier to read. All right, good. So that's pretty much all you're doing here, guys. It's really simple. That part should only take you a few moments. This next part, though, is totally new for you, and it's a totally different way in how to save images. So whenever you're working with stuff that is going to be used for web, this is one of the ways you can do it. Now, GIF files are really cool because they work across all platforms. They work for pretty much any browser that you have out there when you're looking through the internet. So they've been around since the 90s. They can really spice up your web pages and things like that, and they're really low file sizes, so they're almost the size of just an image most of the time. All right, so to save this, you're going to go to File, you're going to go to Export. Now, the last time we did a video one, which one did we use? Anyone remember?
P4.
Yeah, we did render video last time, right? This time we're going to use Save for the Web. So Export, Save for the Web. This will take a moment. It's thinking. Okay. So your Save for Web dialog box looks just like this. You want to make sure that you have it set to a GIF file format right here. Perceptual, diffusion, the colors. Now this is important because you can't have too big of a file size. So right now we're at 10.78 megabytes. That should be okay. I believe the most you can go is 25. But this colors here, not this little drop-down box. What this is, it will actually, the more colors you have, the bigger the file size, the slower the web page will be. Does that make sense? So you have to find the range that'll work best. Now, if you go up to like 256, you'll watch this number jump up, 10.78. So 256, it then makes it... Yeah, it doubles the size from 64. So we want to keep it, we want to keep our web pages running fast, so we're going to save it to 64. And this is important. You want to make sure that the width and the height is 800 by 200, because if it's not, it won't go format up into the Google Forms page. You want to, this is also important, the looping options, super important. You want to make sure that you set this to forever. Otherwise, it'll just play through once and then be done. You don't want that. That's not the point of a GIF. All right. Once you have that, you're going to click Save. This should save fairly quick. You're going to title this. Let's see. Your first initial, last name. We'll call this banner. And the date. So it's 04/12/2017. And then put it somewhere, preferably on your thumb drive. I'll put it on my desktop though. Then click Save. All right, so while that's saving, let's pop over here. We're going to create a new form, and I'm going to show you how to add that to a form. Okay, so you're going to go to your Google Drive account. You're going to go to New, and then under the More options, you have Google Forms. All right, and then it'll put it whatever folder you put it under. All right, then up here, you have some options. we're looking at the color palette specifically, and you want to go down to here to where it says upload your own, and then right here upload photos. It's not really a photo, it's a GIF. All right, from here you can either select the photo from your computer or you can just drag it over. Since we saved it to the desktop, I'm just going to pull it over from the desktop. All right, let's see here. Let's see.
To the right.
There it is. Okay, so find your image. You can just drop it in, just like that. Alrighty, it should pop up here in just a second. There we go. Loading your theme. It'll look great. There it is. All right, you can see at the top it's a little cut off. So make sure that your text, if you're making yours, is a little bit lower. But that's it essentially. It's not very hard, but you can really spice up your form game by creating your own. Nice job, Sabrina. All right, submit this into Google Classroom when you're done. Have a great day, scholars.